Welcome to this session of Libraries as Communities. We are very glad to invite you to participate in this initiative. We have been receiving good response and feedback from many of you for this venture. The primary idea behind this initiative is to encourage readers to visit the library and to make use of the abundant and rich resources of information available here. This session is a slightly different one. There is going to be a practical demonstration. The theme is Aesthetic Practice in the Art of Ikebana, with practical demonstration by Mrs. Malathi Pandurang. Mrs. Malathi Pandurang was born in Bengaluru and grew up in Coimbatore. She is an economics graduate. She studied Ikebana under Mrs. Uma Rao and she received 3 diplomas under her. But she got her highest degree, Rigi in Sogetsu Ikebana, from Mrs. Veena Das. Mrs. Malathi has been teaching in Chennai since 1977 and is the founder of the Chennai Sogetsu branch, and she is also responsible to enter Chennai in the All India Sogetsu chapters list. Her connections with the Theosophical Society started when she attended 4 sessions of the School of the Wisdom conducted by Rohit Mehta and Sri Devi Mehta, which enabled her to be introduced by Radha Bernier to the cataloging in the Adyar library in January 1991. She has been volunteering in Adyar library ever since, till today. She finds Ikebana and Adyar library cataloging work very fulfilling and satisfying, and is still continuing with both the activities. We are very eager to listen to you, ma'am, and watch what you have to demonstrate.
Thank you, Jaishree, for the introduction. Vanakkam, let me say, namaste, konnichiwa, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great privilege to demonstrate what little I know. I am still learning and going on and on. There is no end to it. This beautiful art of Ikebana from Japan. You will see the terms used in this art. Ike is by the pond. Bana is plant materials. Ikenobo, the oldest school of Ikebana, originated in the Rokakudu temple of Buddha in Kyoto. Nobo, Ike is by the pond, Nobo is nobility. The Ikenobo masters served as priests. There were a continuous line of priests doing this art in the Rokakudu temple. The modern schools are Ohara and Sogetsu, which sprung from this Ikenobo school. Ohara is the name of the founder's name, Mr. Hoon Ohara. Sogetsu means grass moon, the 3rd day moon, which we all say it's very auspicious, Moonambare. These are the 2 modern schools popular in Indian cities of New Delhi, Mumbai, Hyderabad, Bangalore and Chennai. The new style called Moribana was started by these schools. In the Sogetsu school, the lessons begin with an introduction to 3-dimensional view using linear material and flowers. This is very, very important. You have to get the 3-dimensional view. It is not like a fan. You must have height, width and depth in various positions on the pinholder or kenzan. Mastery of the technique displaying these features is important to progress. Container is a term which we all use in Ikebana. We never say vase. It contains a message to you. So it is called a container. So it is not a decoration. It contains a message, either the season or it is saying aspiring or something like that. So we all use the word Ikebana containers. not Ikebana vases. We are not allowed to use that word. This is the oldest style in the oldest school called Ikenobo. Now it has 7 sections and each you can connect it up to a triangle. It is very beautiful, highly ornate and very troublesome to make it, and follows a symmetry also. Okay, so it is almost repeated from the priest will teach the new priest and it follows as a tradition, and it is not changed at all. So this system uses at least 7 positions which are pre-marked, and it has to be done in that way in the Buddha temple. You can see in this all the 7 positions, everything you can connect it up to a triangle. Wherever you touch it, you can reach a triangle. And these are called by various names, which the modern schools also adopt. Along with the Ikenobo, there was another style which used scanty materials. It was called Chabana or tea flowers. So the ornate ones of using highly complicated angles and sizes was matched by a simple one called Chabana. From Chabana grew the Nageire style. This is present even today. It is called Nageire because it's in a tall vase and very simple in arranging. Tea flowers. Again tea flowers, Nageire style. These are the 3 which are present even till today. This kind of style is present even in the modern schools. This is very important in Sogetsu, in the school from which I am going to demonstrate. The Kenzan has many positions in which you can use to do your arrangement. Number 1, number 3, number 2, number 4. They all cross, and in between you have positions. And on the left you will see a triangle. To get the 3-dimensional effect, you have to place your height, width and depth in those angles, and they will be known as the angle or the style in which you are doing. So all arrangements and variations in the Sogetsu style will follow the triangle to get the 3-dimensional effect. In the Ikenobo school, there was no cameras for the students to take photos like how Catalina is taking. They had to copy the arrangement which the master does. And the tallest line was called Shin. It had a circle on top. The second one had a square on top. And the third one, triangle on top. All these 3 shapes represented certain angles and heights in the arrangement. And the last one, the elongated T, are the fillers or jushi. Can you see now in that our view is only above and not below. So we take the semicircular above. So 0 to 90 degrees is called left. 0 to 90 degrees on this side is called right. And the Shin, Soi and Hikai occupy those positions to get the 3-dimensional effect. The height is determined by any kind of vase by the length, the height and the width. So usually if Shin is 1.5 size of the container, that is the diameter and the height, Soi will be 3/4 of Shin and Hikai will be 3/4 of Soi. And jushis are all of different heights, but they are together. These are fixtures for the Nageire vase. You cannot use a kenzan in this vase or pin holder, so you have to make a cross bar or a vertical bar, and these are the several fixtures used in the tall container called Nageire. It is the same. Now my tools to do the arrangement. Hasami is the flower cutter, and the pin holder in Japanese is called kenzan. So these are used in Moribana. This is the base on which you keep a very important arrangement. It is usually lacquered. These are accessories or bases for the arrangement. These are the Moribana containers. Usually representing the pond and is circular in shape or oval, and the left one is called a comb pot, which has a little neck in between. The right is a Nageire vase. The left one is a freestyle modern vase. The right one is a Nageire vase. Containers. These are the several shapes of containers in which you create. Okay. Now I think we all love flowers. I don't think there is anybody here who does not like flowers. So love of flowers is universal. It conveys many moods, emotions and feelings. But with the Japanese, their love for flowers is more sensitive, more subtle and more sophisticated. And this characteristic feature forms the basis of Ikebana. To them, this is an art like painting or sculpture, and over the years, it has undergone a coherent development of ideas. It has a technique and is also a discipline backed by principles and is definitely concerned with creativity. Certain basic techniques have to be mastered, like in all arts. Appreciation of nature and all that is natural almost amounts to a religion, and they cherish in creating a link between outdoor and indoors. This encouraged the use of seasonal flowers and also many kinds of leaves and branches, in fact all that is available in the plant kingdom. From there slowly it evolved into symbolism. Nowadays nobody uses symbolism, they only create it as an art, but in the symbolic stage it crept into this art, like for example cherry blossoms evoke manliness, bravery, bamboo connotes steadfastness, pliancy, constancy, abundance. It is the prince of grasses and is a favorite in the New Year arrangements. Carnations for passion, chrysanthemums for nobility, simplicity, lotus for pure love, especially in Buddhist temples, often used with their own leaves. But presently, this symbolizes representation is ignored and has a universal appeal using the art principles of color, form, rhythm, creating a balanced arrangement. From its symbolism and as an offering in the temples, Ikebana has moved into dwelling spaces, both private and public. At homes, there is a tokonoma like our puja room. They have a special place in the living room which is called tokonoma or alcove, where generally an Ikebana is placed along with calligraphy or family heirlooms. The general architecture of homes is dominated by straight lines, rectangular surfaces with neutral colors. It appears that the architecture of dwelling places and the Ikebana in the alcove are the basic concepts of aesthetics for the Japanese. It must be mentioned not only in relationship with architecture, it has a common thread in calligraphy, painting and haiku. Okay, all three carry the same principles or the source. Now, when I am using the word aesthetics, it is pertaining to the sense of the beautiful, and beautiful is a universal phenomena. Okay, the acceptance of artistic beauty, also the branch of philosophy dealing with such emotions, as the beautiful, the ugly, the sublime as applicable to fine arts, with the view of establishing the meaning and validity of critical judgments. Now, when you are doing critical analysis, you need to observe all these to view your judgment works and the principles underlying it, justifying the said judgments. It is also the study of the mind and emotions in relation to the sense of beauty. In Ikebana, aesthetic distance, it is very important in this art that when you connect up two things, they are quite at a distance, but still there is somehow a link that is called aesthetic detachment from or non-identification with the characters or circumstances of a work of art. also permitting the formation of judgment based on aesthetics rather than extra aesthetics criteria. So, you can say that the basis of aesthetics is they try to make a relationship between the materials used, and each material supports the other material. So, it is not individual, it is somehow connected. The oldest school of Ikebana in the Ikenobo school was the Ikenobo school, which was started by a line of priests in the Rokakudu temple of Buddha in Kyoto. Headmasters of this school served as priests. Their style was called Rika, which we saw, where materials were carefully chosen, and they were all not available in that form in which you saw. They are all sawed, nailed, and made into that shape. Well organized arrangements of landscapes where each material brought out the beauty of the other. From this Ikenobo school sprung two modern schools of Ikebana, the Ohara and the Sogetsu, 1926 and 1927. Along with the Ikenobo school, there existed the tea masters, they were side by side, who produced the cha bana or tea flowers. To complement the art of serving tea, the cha bana was totally simple as against the highly ornate rikka. The modern schools of Ohara and Sogetsu introduced the Moribana style of flower arranging in shallow containers, displaying water, which was significant part of the flower arrangement, using pinholder or kenzan in various positions which you saw. In Sogetsu, there are two basic styles to be mastered thoroughly, and from which 8 variations are practiced to perceive balance, harmony, proportion in a 3-dimensional way. So, let me show you the Moribana for you to understand what I read. Fill only little. I am using it in the number 1 position, which you saw in the diagram. Yeah, will do. All of you would have seen this. This is a fern. Any of you have seen it? Is it in the society? Yeah, I think so, no? Common name is bird's nest fern, and the botanical name is Adiantum, okay? This is not by spores. All ferns propagate by spores, but this fern propagates as a rhizome, which means from root to shoot to root. So, it goes underneath the procedure we do not see, but we see only the leaves. So, there are plenty in my garden. So, I thought I will cut them a few and show it to you. So, I have to form a triangular shape, and I used the line with the circle. If you notice this plant, they like to face each other while growing, and slowly the interior gets filled up. So, here is my triangle on the kenzan or the pin holder, and it has a 3-dimensional effect. I cannot place it side by side by side. Now, I add the fillers or the jushis. Nice curly one. Each addition should complement the other material, so you work in your design in a circular way. This is also a work of nature. It is beautiful. So, you will see that it is three-dimensional. It has variety of heights and the leaves are filled up, and it has no flowers, it has no fruit, no seed. It spreads or propagates by the rhizome method of sending a shoot, making a plant, and again send a shoot. So, I thought as an Ikebana there should be some flowers. So, nearby in Chennai, you get this, must be here, Claritopus, Tamil name Erku. It is just being a friend to the adiantum or the bird's nest fern. It is a very simple pond scene where the water is at the back and the plants are in the front, and it is a simple Moribana style. Now, I am going to the position number 3, taking it back. I used 1, now I am going to 3 to show you that you are viewing the plant, water is at the back. Here you have to see the waterfront and then the arrangement. This plant, I know when I am walking, I always admire the small white flowers in the society. It is, the botanical name is Murraya. It grows very happily in my garden. So, my students enjoy cutting and using it. Now, let me remove the unwanted ones. I complement the water in the front by using the Murraya in this angle. Just remember, they have to complement each other. Now, just after the rains, they are growing very happily. I cannot spoil that mood by trimming it too much. Let it grow bushily. Okay. Now, this is the long elongated T, all these little small ones. Unfortunately, I couldn't get white flowers, so I am using. You have to imagine this is the flower of the Muraya. In Sogetsu school, from which I am a part, we have to do from the back. Imagine how it will look in the front. I cannot face it and then turn the vase to you, because every component which goes into the vase, the viewer must see why I am doing it that way. So, that is a very important lesson which they will be doing now. It is a rare Muraya with orange flowers, not white flowers. Okay. Now, this vase is called Nageire, which you saw earlier. I will go to the grotesque part of the art and use this Cyprus alternifolia or umbrella plant. And this. They did a wonderful job to transport this from my house without breaking or bending. So, all these contraptions are. Moving away from the natural to the unnatural. So, this I think I am going to make it. Can I have pin? You can put it. Two, you need to. Can you pin it? Yeah. Let it fall. Can you remove this? I read in that aesthetics, while you're doing a critical analysis or judgment, you can resorting to the grotesque. So somehow today I am not in a mood to appreciate mechanical vase. So I am trying to make it grotesque by these twists and turns. And also I have shown aesthetic distance. Okay, the heads are only in a few and it does not have many things. But then a grotesque thing may have a beautiful component. So I am going to use the hydrangea. It is giving you a consolation. No, it's not grotesque. I am also there. Okay. So this is my arrangement with the modern vase. Now my last one. Just like we have, when we put our deities, we want a mandap, saying that it is something sublime. So for this last arrangement, I want a base. So I am using this. Just fill this much water. This is our Uruli, antique and used for celebrations. Yeah. We have lovely greens in Chennai, which are good complements for Ikebana. So now this is also from my home, Ixora. It is here also in the society and in everybody's home. Most people grow this. This is called limonium. Even when dried, it looks very beautiful. So I'm mixing. it's advisable to cut it under water so they get a Can you push it in? You need a cutter. Push. Can you push it? Put this up. Yeah. May I remember my teacher Uma Rao for my two. She was such a simple lady, and they were guided by Mr. Jiltu Krishnamurthy. So simplicity was their forte, I should say. And so I hit off very well with her to use ordinary materials and to show water. So I dedicate that to Mrs. Uma Rao, and my Nageire, I want to dedicate it to Rabindranath Tagore. Imagine he went to Japan in 1916. Can you imagine the travel conditions then, how he went? What was the urgent need for him, and what was the great attraction which made him go to Japan? And he came back with one family of Ikebana ladies, and he had learnt haiku. This library had a book when I took down this. I do not know now. The haiku is the shortest form of Japanese poem, consisting of 5, 7 and 5 syllables respectively, that is 17 syllables all told, and in it 7 or 8 at most 10 words are counted. That is the restriction to make the haiku. Okay. So the most famous haiku master was Basho. He was famous for his, and they always had he says that I preached and practiced Fu Eki, which Ryoko, or eternal truths, and his most famous saying, Sabi, or quietude. When he sees some scene in that quietude, he produces a haiku. So, and delicacy, it must be elegant also. At 37 years of age, this is the haiku he wrote. A solitary crow is perched upon a leafless bough one autumn evening. So you have to imagine autumn, you have to imagine a leafless bough and a solitary crow, because they are always in twos, and the solitary crow. Another one which is very, very famous is the old pond. The ancient pond, a frog jumped, splash. This is the only words, okay. Behold a camellia flower. Imagine, behold a camellia flower. It split water when it fell. He is so sensitive to observe that. So these are the things which go into Ikebana, into calligraphy and into haiku. The thread of the aesthetics goes all along. One lady, a lady nun, she has said, the morning glory, having taken to the well bucket, it has climbed over the well bucket. The morning glory, having taken to the well bucket, I begged my neighbor for water. She doesn't want to disturb it. Can you imagine? That is the sensitivity, the delicacy which is in their culture, and it spreads to all the arts. Having got attracted to this haiku, Mr. Rabindranath Tagore wrote his own haiku. It is published in a book called Fireflies by Macmillan, New York. Okay. So, in the mountains, stillness surges up. That is his view. Very nice it is. In the mountains, stillness surges up to explore its own height. In the lake, movement stands still to contemplate its own depth. So, such a beautiful haiku. Even he was able to do that. Just having gone one visit there, he has been able to do that. The breeze whispers to the lotus, what is thy secret? It is myself, says the lotus. Steal it and I disappear. The lotus and Rabindranath Tagore talked. God seeks comrades and claims love. The devil seeks slaves and claims obedience. So, how he's used the two words to give you a contextual meaning. Form is in matter, rhythm in force, meaning in a person. Only we can give meaning. All that is just their suchness, it will be there. But we can give a meaning. That is human beings' speciality. So, I remember these three personalities while doing the arrangement. I hope you have all enjoyed it. Thank you for giving me this opportunity, Jaishree. It was indeed nice to share to the people here. I thank Anand for so nicely arranging the video. Thank you, Anand, very much. And may I call upon Bhuvana, Selvi, Susan, and Luna. These are my assistants and my upcoming senseis who helped me in carting the materials here and doing behind the stage help. So please give them a big hand. And finally, I come to my last arrangement. This is to Rohitji at the School of the Wisdom, so where I learnt sum of the parts is not the whole. You know, it took me 1 week to contemplate on that, saying what he said, and it is so true. Now, if I remove one part of this arrangement, it won't look that. This is the whole. Several materials have gone in to make the whole, but I dare not pick out one. It will spoil the beautiful aesthetic look of this whole. So I dedicate this to my School of the Wisdom teacher, Mr. Rohit Mehta. Thank you, one and all. I must say, Nandri, Shukriyad, Arigato, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Malathi. It was wonderful.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
Watching the practical demonstration as well as the idea behind it. Thank you.